Dubai, with its skyscrapers and extravagant shopping centers, is the image of a city that defies imagination. Everything there is splendid, luxurious, and meticulously designed to impress the world. However, this glamorous city, seen by many as the capital of the future, has a side that few know about. A hidden side where gold turns to dust and glamour gives way to a harsh and suffocating reality. This place is called Sonapur. For most visitors, it's just an unknown name, a place off the tourist map. But for thousands of immigrant workers, Sonapur is the very definition of survival. Today, we'll take you to discover this visceral contrast between two Dubais, one where luxury shines on its own, and another where the struggle for the basics is constant. Dubai is located on the southeast coast of the Persian Gulf, in the heart of the Arabian Desert. Its strategic position connects it easily with the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and Africa. It is part of the United Arab Emirates, a federation of 7 emirates, and Dubai is just one of them. This surprises many people. Besides Dubai, the UAE includes Abu Dhabi, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, Al Quwain, and Ajman. As famous as Dubai may be, the capital of the country is Abu Dhabi, which shares its name with the emirate. Dubai is an impressive city built in one of the most extreme climates on the planet, surrounded by immense dunes and bathed by the Persian Gulf. It stands out for its contrasts. On one side, the shine of skyscrapers and vibrant lights. On the other, the endless stretches of desert sand. Despite the prevalent perception of sand and sun, Dubai surprises with its diverse landscapes. This city, synonymous with wealth and modernity today, started very differently. In the early 20th century, Dubai was just a fishing village. The local port grew the region by boosting maritime trade and pearl cultivation, making Dubai an important commercial center of the Arab world. But the real boom came in 1966 with the discovery of oil in the Fateh field, about 120 kilometers east of the city. The wealth brought by oil was only the beginning. Over time, the city diversified its economy, which today includes trade, finance, services, tourism, and much more. The result of all this effort is a city that no longer relies solely on oil and reinvents itself every day. However, despite spending a lot of money transforming the city, these investments have been directed at visual changes, while structural issues have been neglected. A clear example of this, which has become world famous, is the queue of sewage trucks used to remove the city's wastewater. Although the images are old and much of the problem has been solved, they demonstrate that the government preferred to build the grand buildings first and think about constructing the necessary infrastructure for them later. Today, although less frequently, Dubai still relies on the sewage truck system, as the city's sewer network will not be completed until 2025. With its growth, Dubai has consistently ranked high globally, but many formerly fertile areas have been used for building projects and infrastructure. Guess what? The reduction of agricultural land is also being accelerated by desertification. In just 16 years, between 2002 and 2018, Dubai lost 5% of its cultivable land. This reduction occurred simultaneously with increasing demand for food and other natural resources like water. It's worth noting that between 2004 and 2019, the city's population tripled from 1 million to the current 3.3 million inhabitants. In short, a series of ill-conceived and poorly planned decisions combined have increased the need to boost food production, and the country has had to import supplies to meet the population's needs in an attempt to be as self-sufficient as possible. Some interesting figures. As mentioned, Dubai currently has a population of over 3 million people, and believe it or not, almost 90% of them are foreigners. It's a city of mixed cultures where Islam is the predominant religion, and luxury is the calling card. Today, Dubai hosts some of the world's greatest architectural icons, from the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on the planet, to the palm-shaped artificial islands. The city is a showcase of modernity and opulence. Tourism is a crucial economic pillar, and each new building seems to shout, "Welcome to the future." Now that we have the geographical and cultural context, let's get into what really matters. The Dubai that isn't seen in tourist guides, and the expression, "from luxury to trash," here makes perfect sense. Imagine crossing an invisible line. On one side are 5-star hotels, artificial beaches, and luxury restaurants where tourists sunbathe. On the other, a zone that seems to exist in a parallel universe where glamour gives way to the daily struggle for survival. This place is called Sonapur, a neighborhood that looks more like a prison. Here live the immigrant workers who build the Dubai of dreams but live a reality far from luxury and ostentation. Instead of the shine of social media, Sonapur is a place of narrow sheds where everything is shared, from rooms to the burden of an exhausting routine. After all, for everything to shine, someone has to pay the price, not literally, luxury versus trash. To understand how this division became so extreme, we need to go back a bit in time. In the 1960s, Dubai was just a British protectorate, a village of fishermen and traders. It was a place where camel herders crossed the desert, and life was modest until suddenly everything changed. Oil was discovered, transforming this village into one of the richest regions on the planet. The village was turned upside down, and like a modern gold rush, it began to attract people from all over the world seeking opportunities. It was then that campaigns started to bring workers from other countries. Today, about 85% of Dubai's population is foreign. They come from everywhere: South Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and even America. This melting pot of cultures seems to make the city a unique place where there is room for everyone, right? And in a way, there is room for everyone. But of course, some stay at the top, while others barely manage to stay at the bottom. In Sonapur, the workers' lives painfully contrast with the luxury of the center. The houses are makeshift shacks, unfinished, without doors or windows, where the heat is almost unbearable. In a city where temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius, ventilation is minimal, and cooling systems are a distant privilege. But why do these people accept living in these conditions? The answer is much more complex than one might think. It's worth remembering that people who leave their respective countries do so in search of better conditions. So many of these workers hope that the money they earn can support their family's education and provide better living conditions back home. Unfortunately, there's a kind of mafia involved. Many companies go to countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Philippines to hire labor and bring them here with the promise of housing, food, transportation, everything they need, even medical insurance. But the reality is very different. When these workers land in Dubai, they realize that the promises are nothing but empty words. The much-touted improvement in life becomes something more akin to slavery disguised as work. But you may ask, why don't they just leave? Most of them lose their rights as soon as they set foot in the United Arab Emirates. Upon arrival, their employers confiscate their passports and send them directly to Sonapur, where they are practically isolated. To make matters worse, local legislation does not favor immigrants. Dubai may have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the world, around 0.05%, but this hides a complicated reality. Those who lose their job have only 30 days to find a new one or be deported. In other words, for many, accepting any job that comes along is the only way to move forward. Thus, these workers end up trapped in a cycle where they live with countless restrictions, saving the bare minimum to send some money to their families when they can. Most live in extreme need, struggling even to cover basic expenses. Want an example? The salary of a cleaner in Dubai is around 800 dirhams a month, about $200. From this amount, they send more than half to their family and use the rest to sustain themselves. It may seem like a reasonable salary compared to the minimum wage in some countries, but one must remember that the cost of living in Dubai is very high. To give you an idea, renting a small studio apartment can range between 1,500 and 4,000 dirhams. Can you imagine trying to live on such a tight budget in a place where everything is so expensive? The solution is to share. On average, each worker shares a room with 5 others to save as much as possible and ensure the basics: food and transportation. These workers' days are long and exhausting. Often, the men who work in Sonapur don't even have the minimum conditions to maintain their hygiene. The accommodation for immigrant workers in Dubai, known as labor camps, usually has precarious conditions. In these places, it is common for several workers to share small rooms, with up to 10 or 15 people in spaces of about 10 square meters. Sanitary facilities are communal, with toilets and showers shared by a large number of residents, often in inadequate condition. Almost no showers. For many, the solution is to use a bucket. The kitchen is communal, visibly dirty, and totally below the quality standards of other countries, with several workers crowded into spaces that are usually built alone. The most terrifying part is that even the plumbing and ventilation spaces were built by the workers themselves without supervision from responsible bodies. Although many of these accommodations have air conditioning due to the high temperatures in the region, it's common for the units to be old and malfunctioning, causing discomfort and health problems. To work in construction, immigrants often pay large sums to recruitment agencies, amounts that can reach several $1,000s just to be in Dubai. These agencies, in turn, promise salaries and benefits that are often not met. In some cases, employers confiscate workers' passports upon arrival in the country, making it difficult for them to leave. Daily life for these workers involves long working hours, often exceeding 12 hours a day, under extreme heat conditions. Despite labor laws in the United Arab Emirates stipulating a 48-hour workweek and providing for overtime payment, it's common for these regulations not to be followed. Additionally, wages are low, with many workers earning less than 1,000 dirhams, around $270, a month. The money they earn is often sent to their families in their home countries, leaving little for their own subsistence. In summary, these workers' lives in Dubai are marked by a reality very different from the city's glamorous image. The contrast between the luxury experienced by tourists and the harsh conditions faced by immigrant workers highlights the socio-economic inequality present in the region. How can these conditions remain for so long without anyone stepping in to improve them? What is the local government doing about it? In 2017, the UAE government introduced new laws aimed at improving working conditions for foreign workers, such as setting up specialized courts to address labor disputes. In 2019, laws were introduced to ensure workers are paid promptly and have decent living conditions. The UAE government has also launched initiatives to provide financial education and support to immigrant workers to help them manage their resources better. However, despite these measures, the gap between theory and practice remains wide. Many workers continue to face challenges and abuse, and the changes promised by the government are often not implemented. International organizations and human rights groups have criticized the UAE for not doing enough to protect workers' rights. It's a complex situation that requires continued effort and vigilance to ensure that all workers in Dubai and the UAE have access to fair and humane working conditions.